Hi everyone, we are live now. Thank you so much for joining us today on the last session of the first day of IWCON 2022. For this session, we have with us the amazing Harshbothra, who needs no introduction in Infosec. He's here to talk with us about his Learn 365 challenge. I am sure everyone who's on Twitter has heard about this challenge, and we are so curious to know about Harsh's journey and all the amazing things that he achieved. So, before I give the stage over to Harsh, this is a little bit reminder for everyone who's watching. This is going to be a very interactive session. So, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat or you can drop them in the Q&A section that is there at the right side of your screen, and we will make sure that Harsh answers these questions. Aside from that, if you want to talk, if you want to be on the stage, you can raise your hand, and you can take part in polls, any polls that Harsh does. So make sure you're checking the chat section as well. So during the talk. So yeah, all that's all from my end. I'm giving the stage over to Harsh. Hello, Harsh. Welcome to IWCon.
Hi, thank you very much for the nice introduction and giving me this opportunity to talk about this interesting challenge that I did last year, the very infamous Learn 365. Hi everyone. Today I'll be talking about my Learn 365 challenge, and as you know, basic agenda, starting with who am I for the people who don't know me. Uh, so I'll be going over quickly about this. My name is Harshbothra, and this is a quick introduction about me. I work as a code lead pentester with Cobalt.io, a senior security consultant at Redent Labs. I am also a part of Cynacrat team, and sometimes I do bug bounty as well. Previously, I was a full-time bug bounty hunter, but right now a little off to that domain. I have authored two books on hacking back in 2017 and 19. I write a lot of blogs and I speak at some security conferences like this one, and I curated the Learn Success Challenge and Security Explained. And as you might have interacted with me in some form of community over Twitter or LinkedIn, maybe. All right. So uh, you might be curious that Learn 65 was a quick, simple challenge about learning. So what would be the agenda, right? So yeah, the question is pretty valid. That what's the agenda, Harsh? So we are going to talk about different things like what is Learn 365 challenge for those who are not aware about it, why I started this challenge specifically, how the idea came in my mind, and all like that. Where you can find the challenge archives, how it helped me basically, what all things I learned from this challenge, and what were the major challenges that were faced during this challenge, and some key takeaways, and obviously why you should take this challenge, and as usual, some question answers that you can ask. Now, before directly jumping into like something about Learn 65 challenge or something like that, I'll just quickly post a simple poll which will talk about, do you learn something new daily? So this is a simple yes and no poll, and you should be able to see this, right? This is a quite interesting poll to understand that, how people are doing. Are they really learning something daily or not? So this is how you can also get some relevance with this talk as well. So I'll be just waiting for the poll result for the next 1 minute as well. And yeah, make sure if you have any questions to keep them coming in the chat, and we will take up the question after every section is finished. All right, we are getting a vote in a very good number. That's really nice. More than expected, I would say. All right, if we right now look at the number, right now we have 35 votes on an average. I'll say 40 votes, right? So 27% people are not learning something new daily, and the 70% of the folks who are learning something new daily, there would be again another question for you. So I'm just closing this poll at, so the ratio is quite good, 75-25. So I'll be just closing this poll up. Uh, so as you can see that like almost 25% people find it hard somehow to learn something new daily. Now, there will be another short poll like, what is your favorite learning destination? Right. So again, a quick poll. So there are different options that I have mentioned, like YouTube videos. So when I say YouTube videos, it can be any feed, like YouTube, or maybe Twitch or something like that, or Twitter, blogs, newsletters, or if you have some other source of regular learning, like some labs or something, please make sure to drop them in comment as well, so that other people can also get to know an idea that okay, this is what we are using for learning. So quite interesting results are out there that most of the people are relying upon either YouTube videos or Twitter feeds. And this is what we did with the Learn Strive challenge as well. We were used to post the regular updates on the Twitter as well, right? So I'll be closing this poll in next 30 seconds. All right. So we had a quite interesting results that almost 25% people are finding it hard to learn something new daily, or they are not learning it at all by their own means. And the favorite destination for the people to learn something new is YouTube videos and Twitter feed. Now, like often people find it very hard that how to find a resource which is worth learning or worth spending time on, and all those things are something that we're going to talk and cover in today's talk. All right, so I'll move ahead with my talk. So, first of all, what is Learn 65 Challenge? As the name suggests, that it was a year-long learning journey to keep something ongoing, like learn something daily. Initially, like the idea was to learn something maybe technical or non-technical, whatever it is, basically, but just to learn something new. So, with that goal, I started this challenge, and I was lacking behind in learning because of my bug bounty and full-time job commitments and some other community engagement. So when I was creating my goals for the year 2021, I was thinking of some nice ideas that how I can implement the learning into my regular schedule. So I came up with this something called Learn 65 Challenge, and like there were two reasons. One was to push myself beyond the limits to learn something new daily. It could be technical, it could be non-technical, like cooking, photography, it can be anything. Initially it was not just focused to the infosec. And second thing, that when I'll post about those things, that hey, I learned something new daily, it might push some people around the community to take the same challenge, or at least some sort of challenge to learn something as well. Or maybe they can just go through what I am learning or what I'm doing, and we can have a quick discussion around. Maybe they can suggest me something, or maybe I can help them learn something new. So this was the main goal where I started the challenge. Also, I wanted to keep myself updated with the latest vulnerability trends, attacks, and learn new things. As we all know, that application security is something where something new happens every day. Whenever you wake up in the morning, you see some new CVs are dropping in, or you see new exploits. Uh, Log4j was one such example, which took the sleepless night for a lot of developers. Now, as I already mentioned, that it was thought to be random challenge, but later on it turned out to be purely infosec challenge for the 365 days, and that was a quite thing. And luckily, I survived and successfully completed the challenge as well. So this is something I am proud of, that I survived this thing. All right. So next thing is like where can I find it? So the people who are not aware that where the challenge archives are, you can go to my Twitter and also search, but that would be a complicated task. So it's also on GitHub. You can follow along this GitHub repository slash Harshbothra slash learn65 to find all the archives from day 1 to day 365, and you will see all the things that I posted, or something that I learned. There will be some long explanation, or maybe some video links, some blog links, and a mixture of each and everything. There's a nice looking index as well, so you can also get to know that okay, this was a topic for day 1, this was a topic for day 100, for day 200, and something like that. All right. So now, the next topic and most important is like how it actually helped me in last 365 days, how I basically upskilled. So the first point is that it increased my learning capacity. So by taking something new daily, or learning something new daily, I eventually formed a habit of learning something. And there were times when I cannot sleep basically if I don't learn something new daily. Even on my wedding day, I was learning something. I was just going through a random blog. I just wanted to have something in terms of learning. So that was a pretty interesting thing, that it increased my learning capacity overall. Like I was able to learn something. new daily, and the average speed of reading, or you can say that average speed of interpreting a particular resource. For example, in general, it takes, let's say, 5 minutes to read a blog and 10 minutes to digest and totally understand the content of the blog. After first 100 days, I was able to read and grasp that blog or maybe video's knowledge in just the same time. Let's say the blog read time is 5 minutes, so I was able to digest the blog and completely understand what's happening, what the other person is trying to convey in those 5 minutes itself. So it cut down the overall time to look at the things again and again, and to understand the things in a very pretty and fast manner as well. Now, another thing, it helped me being consistent outside learning as well. So not only the learning related to infosec, but learning from the life as well. Like I learned a lot of from other people's experience. Like if somebody is doing something wrong, I try to see if that can be applicable to my life as well. So it helped me being consistent. As I gave an example, that when I was learning something new, I was reading a blog on my wedding day as well. So that's a pretty interesting fact, that it helped me being consistent. I was able to carry out a lot of activities without any laziness, or even when I was feeling burnouts, I was trying to do something creative and productive as well. Now, kept me updated with the trends. This was the obviously thing, that if you're learning something new daily, you know what's happening in the market. If some new blog or some interesting research is coming in the market, you already are following it up. So when you build a habit of reading or learning daily, like it won't be just a bookmark in your web browser, or it will not be just a link in your notes. You will eventually go learn that thing, digest that thing, and then put it into a bookmark or put into your notes. So that's how it would help you a lot, that you are not being procrastinating about something, that okay, let me save it right now and I'll learn it later on, but instead you will learn it right away, right? Okay. Community engagement and growth. During the Learn 65 challenge, I saw like in a year, community engagement and growth over like 10 million impressions in a year, with averaging of I guess 1.2 million in the month of January 2021 when this challenge was initially started. The maximum views on a particular post was roughly around 120K, and I see a follower count increase to almost 10,000 in last year, and those statistics are pretty massive to me. Obviously this was not a planned activity, but eventually people were helped, and we also received more than 1,000 stars on the GitHub repo for Learn 65 as well. So it shows that the community engagement and growth was pretty interesting while doing this challenge. A strong resource repository. So now I have a very strong resource repository from the year 2021. So most of the resources which were launched or which were available during this year, I have a curated list of various resources, blogs, videos, methodologies, and a lot of things. And I can just go to my GitHub repo, and if I want to recall a particular methodology, all I have to do is to go to my GitHub repo and just quickly skim through the content, right? All right. So before moving to the next step, that what I learned, let's if you have any question, let me know. I'll be happy to take up any questions that you might have. So I'll be taking a break for a minute for your questions. It seems I accidentally hit the poll button, publish button for this poll. It was not intentional to post it right now, but that's okay. Things happen. I planned this poll for the very last, but that's okay. I would say that networking basics and Linux command basics are something which is pretty important when it comes to the cybersecurity space. Git basics is good to have again, like basic commands like git clone. At least that you should know that how to clone a repository, because this is something that you will be doing it often. Apart from that, Python basics might help to troubleshoot a certain scripts or maybe automate some certain task, but it's not that compulsory requirement to start into security field. But the Linux and the networking part, they are pretty obvious thing that you need to know before you start into this domain. So what are the struggle you faced while doing lunch chef challenge? We will be covering it up shortly. So yeah, I'll take it up the challenge. We will be talking about those struggles and all those things quite shortly in coming slides. So okay, I'll go ahead with the slides. So all right. Okay, what I learned basically, the first thing was the web application security. I learned a lot of new tricks, techniques, and attack vectors. Like one common example was the CSRF in a GraphQL instances, or like there were a lot of interesting things people were publishing about how to bypass certain scenario to perform RCE, or maybe how to perform XSE in different ways, how to perform XSS in different ways, and things like that. So that was a pretty interesting thing, and it actually helped me in my day-to-day pen testing with Cobalt as a lead pen tester and core pen tester, and also in my full-time job as well, that I was able to deliver more results to my current organizations and make my clients happier, because I was updated with the trends and I was able to apply that knowledge to find some interesting bugs as well. Advanced hacking on mobile application. So I recently started into mobile application 2 years back, and I learned a lot of new things which previously I was not aware of. Like one common example is a house tool, which can be used in scenarios where like you are not able to intercept the traffic in any way. So basically, you can hook up different methods and try to see what's going on in the application or like that. So I learned, I would say that I learned a lot of advanced hacking techniques, like advanced uses of Frida, how to write custom Frida scripts and all like that, while looking for the mobile application related resources. Docker and container security. I was always interested into Docker and container security, and I always like slacking off or maybe procrastinating when it comes to learning something new. I also looked at some different resources which were around Docker and containers. So one quite was from Rohit, who makes security giants. So he talked something about a Docker tool. I remember vaguely. So there were pretty interesting things that I learned about Docker and container security as well. All right. So the next one was the cloud security. I was aware of how to do assessment in the cloud, but since my job required me to learn more cloud as well, like GCP and Azure as well, so I pushed myself to the boundaries and learned new things about how to perform assessment on Azure cloud environments, or how to do configure for Google cloud environment. So that was also interesting learning. I also learned a quick insights on DevSecOps as well, like how it works, what are the various CI/CD pipelines, how security considerations happen in the DevSecOps, and all like that, uh, and code review tactics as well. And this is what you are seeing these days in the Security Explained as well. Is the result of basically Learn 65 somewhere, and much more in day-to-day life that I learned a lot of things. All right. So this was, I guess, one of the questions from our attendees as well. That what were the major challenges that I faced during this challenge? So the first and fundamental challenge was the time management. That how you find time for posting or reading something. So I would say that I use time fragments. So when I say time fragments, basically like let's say I am taking a break for 30 minutes to do lunch in my office daily, and someday my lunch is finished in let's say 5 minutes only. I had used the 20 to 25 minutes to learn something new. So I used to make a complete to-do list of activities that I need to do in a day, and then I used to make use of those time fragments to fit in those activities. So this is how basically I overcome that thing. Consistency, like sometimes obviously you slack off, or maybe you are going outside, or you might not be feeling well, so that's always a major challenge, that how you be consistent. But I would say once you form a habit, and once you have a goal tracker in your mind, or you make a daily to-do list, it's pretty easy for you to be consistent after a certain amount of time, let's say after first month or second month. Where to find the next thing to learn for was the biggest challenge for me, to find some interesting resources after the initial months. So uh, I followed some good people on Twitter. I used to follow Integrity's newsletters as well. And also I used to follow the hacker news and different H1 disclosures and all like that. I used to keep an eye on whatever is being posted on the Twitter mainly, and this is how I basically found most of the sources, like what to learn next. And sometimes for the specific talks, like let's say I want to learn about Docker, I used to go to YouTube or go to Twitch and see if there was a stream or a video about Docker security or container security or maybe cloud security. Burnouts and giving up factor was obviously a case in my thing as well. Uh, I used to schedule tweets basically for those days. Like let's say if I'm not feeling, like learning on some day or something like that, so maybe I'll learn twice the next day and schedule the tweet accordingly or something like that. So that thing happened. I would say somewhere around mid of this challenge, that thing happened that. Why I'm doing this. Let's just stop it. It's being a too much overhead. But then I somehow overcome it by again revisiting my goals and looking at the community engagement and kind of support that Learn 65 series was seeing. So yeah, this was the another factor. Okay, so these were major challenges for me basically while having this challenge. All right. So the next thing is key takeaways. Now, the key takeaway is nothing impossible. That this challenge shows that if you do something or if you decide to do something, it is possible to do it. I decided to learn something new for 365 days. Similarly, soon I'm starting to do let's exercise for next 365 days, and this will be a booster for me to take up my next challenge, because nothing is impossible, right? I won like in one challenge, I can do it for another and all the other future challenges as well. Learning is a blessing, never stop it. I personally felt it that I was able to deepen my knowledge curve a lot, and it helped me to my day-to-day life, day-to-day job, and it helped me to deliver some quality results and build a better community engagement around me. So this was another important takeaway, that learning is a blessing, never stop it. Now, more you dig deeper, more stronger your knowledge will become. This is a proven fact that the deep you will go in a specific, category or a specific area of, security or any area of life. Maybe let's say if you want to cook something and if you will explore something randomly daily. So I love to cook a lot, and I go in the kitchen randomly and I start, putting stuff here and there, and I try to dig into that thing so that I can learn. So basically my goal always is to explore your talents, explore your creativity. Unless you will explore something, by taking a step yourself, you won't be able to do it. People will come and stop you, and people will come and tell you that, hey, you are not good at this. But always explore something, and you will always prove those people wrong, and you will, find some new talents, new skills for yourself as well. All right. So why you should take this challenge? I was supposed to post the poll after this question, but that's okay. Uh, the first thing is ask yourself why not, right? So I don't see any, like drawbacks of taking this challenge. Even if you fail at this challenge, you learn something at least for some days, right? So let's say you started this challenge and you kept it going for at least 50 days, or let's say even 20 days, you learned something for 20 days, right? So instead of doing procrastination for not starting this challenge, let's start this challenge and at least learn something, at least for a day, two, three, or maybe 100, 200. And who knows that you may do it for more than 365 days, maybe just double amount of it, or maybe just, lifelong learning as well. So again, ask yourself why not. uh, Also, let me tell you some reasons that why you should take this challenge. That as I told you that this challenge specifically helped me to build a great community around me, and this community engagement helped me to take on some freelance clients, work with some industry leaders as well. And like you could be the next speaker talking about how you did the Learn 65 challenge instead of me. So always showcase what you are learning to the people. This also shows that a jest of learning to you in the public, and somehow you are solving a bigger problem of folks, that how to find a resource to learn something new, right? This is a common problem. So when you post something new to learn daily, you are giving the people what they want. You are giving them a direct resource to learn something new. So this year Anubhav is doing this challenge, and I also follow his repository, because this year I am not doing this challenge, but I learned something new from his repository. So that's a great thing, right? So obviously, I guess that's most of the reason to explain that why you should take this challenge. I have another few polls for you guys. Let me quickly launch them up. All right. So I guess, yeah, there is only one more poll left. Okay. And this is something I'm doing it for first time. So asking a direct feedback. So did you learn something new or enjoyed this talk? I would like to have honest feedback as well. If you haven't enjoyed, I'll like to have a feedback around it so that I can make it more interesting next time. All right, we are having a pretty good response. So with that said, this is all I had for today's talk. This was my first, most of technically supported non-technical talk, I would say, on not on a vulnerability, but something on how you can learn something. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask. I'll be there for next couple of minutes as well to answer any of your questions related to this challenge, or maybe just random questions as well. Yep. Once again, thank you guys for handling me for the 30 minutes. It was, I know, quite a long duration. I bored you a few of folks as well, but that's okay. Thank you.
Thank you, Harsh. It was really incredible. Like, it's not exactly about infosec; it's about learning, and so many people can relate to it. And like it's so important to constantly keep learning. I am
Right.
so I have so much respect for you for completing like 365 days challenge. It couldn't have been easy for sure.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
everyone
Definitely.
who's listening in, please ask your questions for Harsh in the chat section. And also, if you have any feedback, you can share here. You can share on Twitter. Tag us. Tag Harsh. Show us your support and share with us what you're enjoying the most about this conference. Uh, so we have a question. This is not exactly a question. It's more like a comment. We miss one
Yeah.
most important non-tech thing is soft skills and presentation skills. Agreed.
Yeah, that's fair point that most of the people who are working are afraid basically to present in front of people. They think that if I present something, if I say something wrong, it might be a negative impression. But what I considered when I gave my first talk, I always thought that if will say something wrong, and if people will question it, I'll go back and learn something new, and again I'll you know uh, come back stronger. So yeah, this is obviously a thing that you need to be good at presenting what you are doing basically. That's a fact. That's a fact. It goes by a saying in Hindi like jo dikhta hai wo bikta hai, in simple words. So yeah, that's
That is
true
so
always.
true.
Like
Like
yeah,
no matter what you do, what's your profession, you need to have presentation and marketing
correct.
skills.
Correct. Whether it be if you're in infosec or if you're in marketing or if you're in management, doesn't matter. You have to
You need to
be a good
present
presenter.
yourself.
Yeah, that's correct.
Exactly.
That's
So
correct.
true. So another question is, on average, how many hours have you dedicated per day to learn new things?
1 hour. So I block 1 hour on my calendar every day. Sometimes it would be like 10 minutes because of a blog. So I would carry that 50 minutes to the next day. And will do activity that I planned for the next day, the previous day. So this is how basically I manage, because I keep a list of goals, a monthly goal list, a yearly goal list, and then I keep a daily goal list. So what I do is like every month I pick up some goals from this yearly goal list, and from that monthly goal list I pick up some goal for the daily goal list. So basically this is how I be in the sync that what I'm planning to do for the next day, what I'm planning to do in the next month or in the next year itself. So I have a clear picture basically for my whole year.
Amazing. We have one question which will be so important and so relevant to so many people who are watching this today. Share some tips on note taking when we learn new things.
Yeah, so there are different approaches for note taking. The one thing, and specifically when you also share the information with public, I found was using GitHub or Gitbook. So basically it's easy to maintain as well. Like you can simply create different files for different things that you're learning, simply use markdown language and post it on the GitHub as well. People will also be joining you to make sure, if something is not looking correct or something is not properly aligned, or if there is some modification required. If you want to keep the notes locally, if you are not that willing to share it with the public, you can use tools like maybe Notion. You can also use tools like Trello. I use Trello mainly. as well. So as I guess NB Sri Harsha mentioned that Notion, obviously Notion is a good tool and it also supports Markdown. So and there are some pre-compiled templates around it as well. So that's also a good tool.
More than the tool, I think it's important how you use it, right? I know
Yeah,
people who
that's
have,
correct. That's correct.
yeah, who have like paid packages of Notion but who rarely use it,
Yeah.
and I know
So
some people who
for those who wants to really find a way, Google Notes is also a good tool, right?
yeah,
So there are plenty of tools. It totally depends upon which UI you like the most, or maybe which feature you like the most. Some people like to have their notes synced on the cloud. Some people like to invite other people to see their notes and all like those features. So it totally depends upon your use case, basically. I would say that don't make it much complicated when it comes to taking notes. Use a simplistic approach and don't follow blindly like what I might be following or what some other people might be following. Pick up any tool that is best suitable for you according to your needs and go for it.
yeah. And if you don't find the tool, you can start using pen and paper as well. It's all about organizing your thoughts.
Yeah, that's totally correct. But
Yeah,
yeah, pen and paper is something that your hands will pain at the end of the day if you will come and start writing on a video which is 1 hour long. So I usually don't prefer it. But when it comes to brainstorming, pen and paper is the best thing. No, but no, nothing can match it when it comes to
yeah,
brainstorming. I
very
personally
true.
believe
Yeah,
that.
very true. Yeah. So we have another question. It says that you recently started the Security Explained series, but I cannot see anything from this series. Can you please give us guidance for how we can learn from this series?
Yeah, so this Security Explain series, if you look at its GitHub repository or my regular tweets, initially I posted some methodology around web application pen testing, account takeover methodologies. So obviously you can learn from my methodology how I approach a specific bug. So this is one learning. Majorly, we are also focusing upon the code snippet. So right now, what is happening? Most of us are focusing on upon black box pen testing. We are going and learning things as, let's say, okay, let's learn how SQL injection works. So I would go and learn SQL injection from a black box perspective, but we are missing the white box perspective, that why something happens behind the scenes on the code level. So one reason that we are posting the code snippets, because it received a huge response, that people are actually learning what is happening behind the scene, what is going wrong in the code as well. So I post a vulnerable code which is sourced from different resources like Sonar source, and some folks are also working with me to develop those codes. And at the end of the day, like the time is not fixed, obviously, because of other commitments. So I also post a solution. Okay, why this code is vulnerable, and what is the possible vulnerability for that particular code. So this is how you can learn. So if you go and explore this repo once, you might get quite some idea. Like I'll share the link in the chat.
Yeah, you can drop the link in chat so anyone who's interested can go and click on it.
Yep. I'll just do it. All right. So you can go and see it. It's pretty clear. It's pretty clearly mentioned that on what day what we have posted and all like that. So I believe it's easy to navigate. But if you have any suggestion for the repo, please also make a PR for that, and we'll make sure to take in consideration.
Lovely. So we have a question. It's like it's another person who was inspired by a talk. So I'm inspired to start a little smaller challenge, like learn 50 or 100 after your talk, and then I will increase that number of days.
Yeah, definitely. That's a great idea. Start with small and make it big. That's a great idea. And I am 100% sure that if you are, if you have developed a hunger to learn something, it will go infinite as well someday.
So true. Do you still do bug bounty?
No, I rarely do bug bounties, to be very honest over here. I spend most of my time doing pen tests with Cobalt, or doing a full-time job writing some blogs, content creation, and all like that. So it's, then you have no time left for your personal life. So I don't do bug bounties because of that reason.
Lovely. So this is another question. Following up on vulnerable codes, in case, how can one learn when you are not a developer?
So this is not specifically focused on the developer. This is focused upon the security researchers and engineers themselves. The idea is to look for how data flow happens. Basically, let's say if I'm posting a vulnerable code around SQL injection, so obviously you have to go and figure out like. This is again a challenge itself, that how you understand the code. So maybe you will see that okay, there is a function called eval which looks something malicious, or you might have heard that eval function is malicious. So go and research about it, right? that how eval function is malicious, then look at the code again, that okay, this is how the data is going in eval, and this is how it can result into an attack vector, right? So this is how you can learn. Obviously I cannot throw complete knowledge in a single day or in a single tweet at you, but I can try to at least give a reference point where you can start and do something interesting and maybe read some other people's response, and this is how you can learn, obviously.
Yeah, lovely. This is also a very vague question, but if you want, you can take it. What was your daily routine when you were a beginner?
I'm not sure. My routine was totally, messed up when I was a beginner. Sometime I was used to do bug bounty all of a sudden, and then the burnout phase will kick in, and then I'll just sleep for hours. So yeah, I majorly focused upon learning a lot, and I'm a big learning advocate that you should never stop learning. I used to let's say I'm testing an application. So first time when I countered GraphQL, I was not sure that what the hell it is, right? I was not aware of the GraphQL at all. So I, shut down my testing for that day and for next couple of days, and I specifically focused upon just learning GraphQL, what GraphQL is, and what are the security implication of the GraphQL. And then I started hitting that application again, and now I have a better understanding. And this is how I basically learned and started testing thing, and it gave me results basically. So I
Yeah,
always say people that once you're stuck at something, go back, unlearn something, learn something new, and then go and hit it again. So that's sometimes you need to unlearn to learn something new. So this is a quite important factor as well. I guess this was a quote said by some famous person. I don't know who that was, but yeah,
people are loving the session, Harsh. Thank you so much for being
yeah,
so
that's
open and candid about your journey. It was really, really a privilege hearing your first-hand experience. I'm sure so many people here are inspired to start their own Learn 365 challenge, even if not for 365 days, maybe for 50, 100 days.
yeah.
It's incredible. Thank you so much for sharing with us, and thank you so much, people who are attending, for the amazing energy in the chat.
Yeah, thank you, everyone, for handling us for almost 40 minutes now. It was a privilege talking to you all, and looking forward to again interact with you in some or the other conferences. IWCon did a great job this year by usually we see that conferences are purely technical focus, but sometimes you need to these are many important questions like how you can upskill or maybe what are the mental challenges while doing hacking, or one talk I would be taking somewhere, about financial planning when you are a hacker, because most of the people are not sure like how to handle the money that they are getting from foreign resources, or how basically you can channelize your finances or something like that. So these are the pretty interesting things, and appreciate you guys putting these kind of things together. And yeah, it was a privilege as usual. Thank you, everyone. I'll take a leave if you don't have any questions. Financiation, when I'm not sure. Whenever some conference will allow me to speak on it, because I'm obviously not expert around this thing, but I can definitely tell you with my experience that how I basically got managing finances and some stuff like that. Yeah, definitely in the next IWCon.
Yeah, in the next IW conference.
Yeah,
Thank you so much, Harsh. Thank you for the kind words as well. This is the first time we're doing something like this. We
yeah,
are super like happy that you joined us, and super happy for all the people who came here and trusted us. We're definitely going to do the next conference even better and bigger for sure.
yeah, definitely. You will be seeing a lot of good responses because of this thing. And yep. So can we get your LinkedIn account? I'll just quickly drop in my profile that contains almost everything about me. So you can go to my personal website and have access to all my website, or maybe you can simply Google my name itself. Most of the top links are from my name. The power of community engagement also boosts this thing as well. That you need not to do paid SEO.
So true. All right, then. Thank you so much, Harsh. Really great and
Yep.
really inspiring session. All the people who are watching this right now, this is the last session for today. Tomorrow, the talks will begin at 7 p.m. IST, just like today. You can use the same link to join. And for the next 1.5 hour, our networking rooms are open. So, Harsh, you can join there as well. People might have some questions for you. And everyone else who's here, do join our networking rooms. Let's make some friends as well.
Yeah, I'll be posting a tweet after disconnecting from here. So if you were not able to ask any questions, or if you want to take any follow up, so you can ask your question in that thread. So yeah,
Awesome. Okay, thank you so much, Harsh. Thank you everyone for joining.
thank you. Have a good night.
Bye.